What would you do if you found out that your lover was being unfaithful in the relationship? Some people would choose to end the relationship. Others would try to work it out. But for this case, there are those who chose a different route that would cost the lives of all three persons linked in the love triangle. I'm gonna take a deep dive into the short life of Marisha Jeter and discuss how she became a victim of a scorned lover. Marisha Jeter was born on April 29, 1991, in Spartanburg, and she was the youngest of 4 children and the only girl. Marisha was described as a very special, happy, outgoing, friendly, affectionate, extremely energetic young lady. She was a member of the Bethel Baptist Church and was a member of the youth choir, the junior usher board, and was a past assistant secretary of Sunday school. She also competed in many Bible Bowl quizzes and either won or placed every time she competed. Her favorite hobby was singing, which she started doing at 2 years old on the youth choir when she led her first song, "The Little Light of Mine, I'm Going to Let It Shine." And she really did shine in everything she did. She was a past member of the Union County High School band called the Sting Machine. She was the junior class president, a member of the yearbook staff, and a member of the Union County High School Winter Guard, and also a member of the varsity cheerleading squad. Marisha actually started cheering when she was just 16 months old, when she became the mascot for the Cowboys Stinger football team. Marisha was also a pageant girl who won many beauty pageants and Miss Teen America pageants. She as well competed in talent search events and had sang in public at the 2007 Union County Agricultural Fair. Marisha was very much loved and involved in her community, and it was evident that she had a lot going for her. Marisha would only be just 16 years of age when her life would be taken. On January 3rd, 2008, Marisha was in the mood to get something to eat, so she told her father, who was the vice chairman of the Union County School Board, that she was gonna go get some McDonald's nearby and that she would be back soon. She kissed her father goodbye, him not knowing it would be the last time that he would see his daughter alive, and she left the family home, got into her bright pink 1994 Toyota Celica, a sweet 16th birthday gift, and drove away. An hour passed and she never came home. Her dad called her phone, but there was no answer. As a concerned father, he got in his car and drove around Union County to search for Marisha, but she was nowhere to be found. It had been past midnight, and there was still no sign of her. By 1 a.m., her father reported her missing, and so an Amber Alert was issued. Because of Marisha's age, investigators assumed that she was just another teenage runaway, but her family refuted that theory since she was well liked, so there would be no reason for her to run away. So then investigators considered people in her life that may want to harm her. Her family immediately pointed their fingers at her 20-year-old ex-boyfriend, Pernell Thompson, who was a junior football player at Wingate University at that time. Pernell dated Marisha when he was a senior in high school and when she was 13 years old. Marisha's father never approved of him and even confronted Pernell to get him to back off from Marisha. But adults close to Pernell urged her father to give him a second chance. The relationship between Marisha and Pernell had been on and off. Marisha's father thought that the relationship ended, since Purnell went off to marry and had a baby with a 19-year-old woman named Yolanda. However, days before his daughter's disappearance, Purnell and Yolanda actually visited his home to admit that Purnell was in fact still seeing Marisha. So investigators questioned him on Marisha's disappearance, but he said he didn't know anything about it. But when he was being interrogated, investigators noticed that he had some burn scars on his face and hands, so they asked him about them. But Purnell said that he got burned while cooking food at his grandma's house. They thought it was sus, but decided to let him go. Sadly, on the afternoon of January 5th, 2008, the search for Marisha concluded when they found her partially clothed body in a river 10 to 15 minutes outside of town. She was found when an art student was photographing the Broad River, located in Lockhart, when they noticed something odd in the water. As she used the zoom feature on her camera, she was able to see clearly that it was a body, and so she contacted authorities. The body was sent to the medical examiner for an autopsy, and the results showed that she died from multiple stab wounds. The next day, on January 6, 2008, Marisha's car was found burning on the side of a road, and when they extinguished the fire, they weren't able to identify who the car was registered to because it was badly burned. After finding the torched car, investigators immediately thought of Purnell because of his burn scars, so they brought him in again to question him. When he came in, they noticed the shoes that he was wearing, which were Nike Air Force One, and they realized that it was the same type of shoes that left an impression at the crime scene. So investigators presented their findings to Purnell, such as his burn scars and his shoes, and linking these findings to the crime scene. And so, because he knew what he had done, he confessed to the murder of Marisha Jeter. In his confession, he claimed that his wife, Yolanda, found out about his affair with Marisha, became upset, and demanded that he proved his love to her. So that's when he decided to text Marisha on the night of January 3rd, 2008, to tell her that he wanted her to return his jacket and for them to meet up at a parking lot behind a YMCA. So when she arrived at the parking lot, she got out of her car, and when she was giving him the jacket, Purnell started jabbing her in the neck more than 30 times, while Yolanda held her down. Afterwards, they put her body in the trunk of the car, drove to Lockhart, stripped her of her clothes to make it look like she was and then dumped her body in the river and set her car on fire in a different county. First-time offenders, Purnell and Yolanda, were arrested and booked into the Union County Jail on charges of murder, kidnapping, and criminal conspiracy. On March 6, 2009, Yolanda pleaded guilty to the charges and agreed to testify against her husband after learning that prosecutors were seeking the death penalty. Purnell initially entered a not guilty plea, but later pleaded guilty to avoid being put to death. He apologized to her family and said that she's in heaven, that he knows she's happy, and that she's forgiven him, and that's something that gives him peace. However, her father said to him that he's going to hell, and that there's nothing anybody can do to help him. Before sentencing, Yolanda asked Marisha's family to forgive her, and that she's not an awful person, but that she did an awful thing. But Marisha's dad responded by calling her a demon who stole his daughter's life. Yolanda's lawyer asked the judge to have mercy on her because apparently she was taken advantage of as a child, which was why she's unable to have healthy relationships with men. But the judge believed that her past should not be a mitigating factor to determine her sentence. Pernell and Yolanda Thompson were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Marisha Jeter. Because of this tragic crime, a father has to mourn the loss of his only daughter, and a baby has to grow up without a mother or father. That is all for now on this case. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Your support is greatly appreciated. And I will see you next time on Melanin Mysteries.